welcome to Dungeon Damsels.
Ooh.
This is
My spooky, scary, excited.
This is the 5th and final chapter of our Halloween campaign, Dark Waters.
5th? 4th? I don't know.
Well, I mean, there was originally... The 4th chapter is just really long. I mean, the 3rd chapter is really long. I could split it into 3 and 4, so it's... I wrote it as the final. The final chapter. Here we go.
The final chapter.
I don't believe we have a spotlight.
Nope.
Okay, that's fine. So we'll just dive right in after we introduce ourselves. I'm Tiffany.
Dive right in.
Haha. I'm
Ha.
This is our underwater campaign, so we're diving. Let's go to Kristen. Introduce yourself.
Oh, hi. I'm Kristen. I play Nosalyn, who is a battle master Velyarn, which is technically a Triton, but Velyarn sounds cooler, so.
I am Michael at Rogos already. I am playing as Velyarn, the merfolk cleric of the shark god Loki.
And hello, my name is Serena. I play Sonam and Nosalyn, who is an excellent, the big barbarian sea lady. And oh yeah, you can find me at Pixie Apocalypse. Forgot to add that, but yes. And I am very unconscious right now.
Me too. Me too.
I'm very strong. We're just very unconscious. Party too hard.
We're at where you want to be, but we don't see it yet.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll love it when we get there, probably. Hopefully.
We'll go to the recap. After getting instructions from their superiors and clientele, our heroes, Velyarn, Finn, Nosalyn, and Sonam, braved the sea serpent trenches, boarded the surface dweller vessel, and discovered the horrors inside. You found the dismembered bodies of the stout surface dwellers, and at the navigator's deck, you faced your unknown hunters, who had been terrorizing you throughout the vessel. After leading your team on a hellish ride through the surface dweller vessel, you did battle and slew these bizarre creatures. Velyarn fell to the cold metal floor, her life ebbing away as the seconds dragged on. Sonam too collapsed from her fury, and all that remained were Finn and Nosalyn. Luckily, Finn was able to resuscitate both of you from the edge of death, and the party eased into an uncomfortable respite. The corpses of the surface dwellers that you fought ooze out a greenish, viscous sap, and then the bodies steam and reveal bright red and pink insides. Their vacant eyes drain of the starry skies and return to a white and lifeless glint. Finn goes to the control panels, and after several minutes of heavy thunks and clunking, it's just, the keys are just heavy. He's not actually doing anything. So it's like ka-thunk, ka-thunk, ka-thunk. He looks over at Nosalyn with a grim expression. I have bad news. We're in the red.
Say it.
Finn crunches out a few more keystrokes as the heavy machines whir and spin. He brings up a navigational map and it flickers to life at the navigational center. Gems around the navigation hub were cracked during the battle, and some flicker as their intended purposes squeeze out images from the magically infused gems. The map is a blur, and then Finn clicks around again. See, this is where we should be. He shows you a rough map of the area. The surface dwellers didn't know the exact location of Yanachat. Well, at least you saw that much. He clicks back to the original image, which is a fuzzy outline of nothing. The system has nothing to compare to where we are. In other words, the navigational system doesn't know where we are. He points to a different reader, a circle-shaped thing with an arrow on it. With readings like this, he shrugs. I can only concur that we're not in the ocean we knew. Wherever we are, it has extremely high oxygen levels, even in the waters. And he looks over at Sonam and Velyarn. I think we'll be okay for a while. We should probably let them rest before we decide to explore.
Nosalyn hears all this, takes like a deep little breath, and knowing that he's right, they definitely need a rest. And she's going to ask him, how far could we even go to explore? Are you able to move the ship?
Well, he pulls up like another like image, and it shows 4 of the 4 like circles. Well, 3 of the 4 engines are kind of shot, so I could push the submarine for a bit. We'd probably, I don't want to push it too hard. We might lose our last engine. So I'm gonna have it we'll just cruise at a slow pace.
Well, as long as we find some way to move on and figure out... Nosalyn doesn't actually know what she's saying. She's just trying to be a little more composed. But mostly she's just a little mad, just how much the ship has wrecked them and for what. There's not anything else that she could think to do. She just kind of steps up and like walks away back towards the door where everyone came in from. I guess maybe she's trying to see if there's any other sound or any other movement outside.
Okay. Do I guess an investigation check or thorough search of.
Okay. Want to do investigation? All right, that's great. I'm terrible at it, which is perfect. I rolled a 12.
You look around, you listen closely, and you don't hear anything other than just the low whir of the ship and it moving. Behind you, you hear Finn go, "Oh, manual!" You look back and see him start going through this dried kelp pile that has markings on it. That's one of their books, as you have maybe heard. So after that, you guys spend the time just repairing the ship. Finn explains what needs to be done, and you guys tend to Sonam and Velyarn. Sonam, you wake. A fresh bandage has been applied, though it was probably a garment of some kind because the fabric was colorful. And Velyarn, you wake after Sonam. You notice that you have been bandaged and there's a small blanket over you. You've all had a long rest.
Right.
Yay!
Yum.
Quick, I just need to get a pencil.
Okay. There's some in the drawer.
Health is back to its regular?
Yeah.
Ah, cool.
We got a long rest.
There we are. Done. Alright, all my rages are back.
On the navigation deck, Finn explains the situation as well as how much air and food is on the ship. We won't last a week out here unless we figure out how either to adapt to this environment or we somehow leave. Also, he pushes a button and the front window of the vessel illuminates as the exterior lights warm up. You see what appears to be the deep, dark depths of the ocean. Waters bubble from nearby geysers. Gases pour into the watery depths, obscuring your vision, and a strange sound permeates the air, chilling you to your core. It's inhuman, and unlike any creature you have heard. In the murky waters, you can see the structures of odd shapes with a terrible wrongness to them. Their spires crawl outward in an uncomfortable facsimile of organic shapes made of stone. The walls stretch up and down in angles that your head cannot make sense of. And in the distance, you can see a faint light from beyond this impossible city. Well, the math tells me the most likely place for the rift to be is where that plane is coming from. It also tells me that the engines will burn out if we keep pushing the vessel, so we're gonna have to swim.
Well, I guess...
Sonam just does this gesture. Push? She, like, makes a vague gesture of the ship and then just... Push?
I don't know if we could really push this.
I mean, maybe if we rope together some whales or something, but I don't
This thing is much larger than us.
feel like pushing a house.
Nosalyn, does any of this look familiar? Isn't this your realm? You came from the other side of it. That's where we are.
Tiffany, is it something I'm familiar with?
You remember Kenneth mentioning something offhanded during one of your long stations at the Rift. Do you ever wonder what's beyond that thing? He shudders. I get the strangest feeling when I look too long in its direction. Peers over his shoulder. Have you ever peeked in it?
Let's see. Alright. I'm pretty sure that Nosalyn would just be like, then don't look at it. Look the other way to make sure that it stays protected.
It's like, come on, you know you want to look at it. Just do a peek, not too much, just do a peek.
Just small little peek, just a little bit.
I'm smiling, but Nosalyn would just give her like kind of like that, like a matter of fact kind of frown thing. Is like, don't do stupid things.
No, Robin.
Yeah. No, Robin.
Sorry.
Don't suggest stupid things. That's basically the kind of look that she would shoot back over to Kenneth.
He would just keep egging you on until you broke.
Just to shut
I
him
would
up.
I would like be like okay, fine, and I would like turn around, stick it behind me, and like push him closer to it, if anything.
Okay, so as you push him, what he does is he actually he grabs you, and while you wrestle, you catch a glimpse of this rift.
Okay.
And you peer into the ripple of time and space. It seems kind of boring at first, just a backdrop of nothingness. But there's something about the blackness. Something is there, but your eyes cannot see it, your ears cannot hear it, and your nose cannot smell it. But the sense of something old, ancient beyond your comprehension, older than the world itself, older than time as you could understand it, stares back at you. The terror of how incredibly minuscule you are comes to mind. What are you if not a speck in this vast, infinite blackness? What if you are but the motes of dust to some other primordial ancient being beyond your mortal comprehension? What if in this very reality in which you so vainly struggle to put purpose to is really just a means to nothing in this black ocean of unreality? What if everything is just in your head? What if the only two creatures were you and this indefinite but unmistakable being? You pull back. Your mind shudders. Your core is shaken, and your mind tries to push away this memory and the immutable shock of it to your reality. It felt like hours, but when you came back, Kenneth responded, certainly something, isn't it?
I just imagine Nosalyn, after having this little flash of introspection, horrifying introspection, to be frank, she's probably exactly the type just to push those feelings away. We not think about that today, and just kind of
you're like, what?
turn back around, be
Get
like,
back to your watch.
all right, back to watch. No more seahorsing around.
Less goading, more watching seahorse.
Yeah, and I imagine at this time, like, you're just like kind of spacing out, and I'm just like, hello, Nosalyn, I was asking if you've ever seen anything like this looking at the rift.
Alright, well then, out of character, it feels like Nosalyn is not from an alternate dimension.
She's not. She's from yours. She just started the rift.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know, I just wanted to make sure that's clear, because I'm getting, like, different interpretations from different people.
Yeah, like, people just assume you know a lot about the rift, but literally no one knows a lot about the rift.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, technically you know the most about the rift. You just
Which isn't much.
which isn't
Just
much.
much, yeah.
Yep. It's a
I know a little more about nothing than everyone else who knows nothing about nothing. Ah.
Pretty much.
Makes me an
Exactly
expert?
There's
Question.
a known unknown and unknown knowns.
I mean, Nosalyn is more of an expert than anybody else here, which is not.
Which is terrifying to her, which is why she's just like, I have to know, but I don't. Ah. Anyway. So, alright, back to role-playing stuff. Nosalyn just kind of like gives Velyarn a look, and it's just like, I don't know how extraordinary you think I am, but I only know as much as I have. I just know that the rift is... She trails off as I try to think of what to say.
Sonam looks at you, looks at Velyarn. Probably not her house. It's like, probably not her house. Not from here, probably. Seems confused.
Well, you ready?
Sonam does take this time to look a little closer at the shifting shadows. They're in the rift,
Yeah.
and it looks like she's more trying to observe the monsters out there, which she is, but she's trying to look for familiar shape, potentially, out of them.
I'll make a perception check.
What's my perception? Let's take a look at my sheet. Where'd my little shaker go? There you are. Come here, Shaky. Okay, that's a 3 plus 2. That is a 5.
It's very dark and obscure, and this. You're like in water, but like it's like looking at the night sky in a lot of ways because it's just like black and empty, and you can see just these like distant glinting lights and these odd organic shapes in like the form of gases and clouds, and it's very alien to you, so you're not sure how to like even interpret distance quite yet.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we have our heading, and only way is forward. And I just like tap my oar and I cast light on it.
Okay. So you gather by the exit. Finn casts the bubble spell and cracks open the door, and you all step out into the air to find footing on the wet, sandy floor. The vessel door closes, and you are blanketed in the black void, except for the island of light.
Are we on like the ocean floor?
Yeah, pretty much. Like because of like pressure and water, like basically makes a little bubble of air, and then like you use that to exit the vessel, close it, and then while it's closing, you like there's still air, so like you step onto the sand, but as soon as that bubble drops, you like are greeted with water. Eerie lights of orange and blue and green illuminate the city from the underside and cast strange shadows across the city, while the rift illuminates it from the back with a faint glow. You swim through the darkness and adjust to the stillness of sound, the burbling of water from the geysers, and the odd isolation of a city with no people. There's no symmetry to the city, and often the walls seem to have just enough detail to them to indicate that they were once living. Something living, anyway. Something living turned to flesh to make this awful hell. The three of you pass under an arch, if you can call it that. The corresponding jagged, smooth edges of the flesh stone blocks a span of blackness above you in an arch. And then we'll see. Wait, Velyarn. As you pass under this arch, blackness overcomes your visions, and memories flood into your head. The Coven Mother's voice creaks. The great Laki requires sustenance. In your memory, you recall, above you, floating in the waters, are the surface dweller ships. A few small vessels, something that could carry 2 or 3 of them. They float aimlessly above you under a starlit sky. You see Hilgar circle beneath one, like a shark, to stalk her prey. And after a few circles, she launches herself upwards and snatches one of the surface dwellers. It kicks wildly as Hilgar simply drags it down. Eventually, the kicking stops. What do you do?
I mean, I do the same. I wince. I close my eyes. I swallow, and then I jump up after her, and with the other land dweller in their little dinghy, I lash out a tentacle casting thorn whip. So it looks like a. If you guys ever seen a vampire octopus tentacle and how it has like kind of like hooks instead of suckers, that's what it looks like as it lashes out through my sleeve, and it wraps around the dweller. I dive back in, and all I do is just I look away, so I'm not looking at the land dweller, and I am just holding them as we sink deeper and deeper into the depths.
Yeah.
And all I think of is just, this is for the will of Laki. This is the will of Laki.
Flash forward. You're deep in the coral reef, hiding amidst the forest of colors and life. Fish swim by, utterly unaware of the crisis you just fought. When a small voice calls out, the glint of moonlight flashes across a glass surface. Its fin is swimming towards you, to your secret place, albeit a bit lost.
I excitedly follow. Very excitedly.
He calls out for you, Velyarn?
Finn!
And I scoop him up. And I kiss him.
Aw. You scoop towards him and scoop from behind, and you playfully coil your tail around him. A long week of work has you anxious for a little love as you kiss him on the cheeks. He succumbs to your affection, and it surprises you when he pushes you away from him. Val, and he cuts off. The two of you suddenly see a shadow looming above you. The night patrol is coming. So what do you do?
I mean, we try to hide.
Okay, yeah. So there's a reason you pick the reefs. It's because you can hide under stuff.
Yeah.
So like you grab Finn, and the two of you cloister yourselves into one of the little nooks of the reef.
I hold my breath. Hold his breath.
The two of you hide in the
bubbles come
coral,
out.
still entangled in the embrace of lovers. One of the patrols swims down. I thought I saw something. A male swims down. Dark blue scales. So dark he almost melds into the murky night-veiled depths around him, all apart from a streak of red across his face. Alok'sha. The name echoes in your head, and with a wavering dread, his eyes scan the area and fixate on you and Finn.
They see us.
A knowing look crosses the pair of you. Alok'sha winks and smiles. It was just some manatees, Sonam. You hear a voice reply, I like manatees. Well, they're a bit spooked. We should probably leave them alone. A second shadow appears on the sandy ground of the coral reef and then vanishes with Alok'sha.
Yeah.
After several tense moments, the coral reef is still again.
Oh, that was a close one. And I, like, grab his face again and then kiss him on the cheek.
Now that they're gone.
He grabs your shoulders and pushes you back. Velyarn, we can't keep doing this. It's not smart. I mean, we literally just got caught. And we got away with it because Alok'sha's apparently a romantic. It's like, what if the Covenant finds out?
Finn, they'll never find out. Is this about me? Is this what?
It's just like, I'm sorry, Velyarn. I just can't keep doing this. Knowing how it could hurt you and affect your dreams of the future. And I'm going back home tomorrow. Back to the north. Now this is goodbye.
No, Finn, what am I to do without you? No.
And he slowly pushes away from you. Well, you have the Coven, right? And he just swims away.
And as I'm there in dead silence, just in the middle of the reef, I'm just like, "'Tis the will of Lockheed." That's
After that, you didn't see Finn for a number of years. Not until he returned to Yanacha a few months ago. But why are you remembering this now? Okay, next one. Ah, it keeps rolling four.
That was sweet.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
my sweet, sweet nerdy boy.
You're a sweet boy.
You're a sweet boy. Sonam. A
Yes.
flood of memories also wash over you.
Oh.
Memories of Alok'sha come to mind. The sun warming your faces on the secret beaches of your coupling. The small touches you dared to steal during patrol. The glow you'd feel when he smiled at you, baring his sharp and handsome teeth. And the feelings of tenderness you didn't know your heart could make and didn't know could cut so deep. All the futures of your mind you could dream up were shallow compared to the reality of his absence. You feel determined that he is here. And you also get the sense that something or someone specifically pulled these memories to mind. It's an odd feeling. Now, all of you need to make int and wisdom. Okay, so you can either make an intelligence or wisdom check.
Okay.
Oh gosh, neither of those are good.
Wisdom is slightly better, so I will choose the wisdom. Oh wait, the saves, right? Saves.
Saves?
The wisdom save is definitely better than the intelligence.
Yeah.
They're saves?
They're, yeah, they're saves.
Oh.
Oh.
Saves. This one's a save.
Oh. Oh.
Okay. Aw.
Twins.
Oh gosh, did you both get 6?
Yeah.
Yes, season.
I didn't roll too hot, but I rolled a 15.
Okay.
Ah. See, that's where the rest of our numbers went.
They went over there.
You're welcome. Oops.
Okay. So,
Makes sense.
a 6. Okay. You guys are actually okay. It was a very, very low save. Yeah, now at least.
Now at least.
Mentally, like, wisdom high five with
Just
Nosalyn. God. Barely.
Sana,
Yes.
you hear a voice call out. It is dull and echoes oddly against the walls of this grotesque city. An image of Alok'sha flashes in your mind. It's him. So make an intelligence or wisdom check to try to find him.
It's a 10. That's 8 plus 2 is 10.
Okay. Oh, here we go. I found my so from the save, this is the flavor text.
Oh.
A sense of dread washes over you. You're fine. But a sense of dread washes over you like you're being stalked by an unknown predator. And Sonam, would she just go looking for him?
Her body language is very obvious, being the largest in the group. Like, as you guys are swimming along, it's like a kite suddenly catching wind. It's just like immediately upright, just looking around. And she kind of, since it's a very vague, since it's a 10, I'm not sure that she could probably get a beat on where he's at immediately.
You know the general direction, like she's direction, and there's this pathway that way.
Yeah, she sort of drifts in that direction.
Do we notice?
Yeah, she's a big lady, so yeah.
Yeah, if like you don't see it, you feel the current change because it's suddenly
Okay.
She makes this low clicking sound that can be heard a little further. It's like a little sonar thing that you hear whales will do, but sort of like, and she sort of starts floating in that direction.
All right then. Nosalyn, apparently she notices. She's definitely gonna try and call after you. And she's like, Sonam, no, where are you going?
And she distractedly like looks at you, then back at the path. Alok'sha. And she just says it.
Would Nosalyn know that name? Probably not, huh?
You mean, you think he's... Finn, realizes... He would be here. We are in the rift. I mean, if he's here, we should get him. We can't just leave him here.
What do you mean?
I think she thinks that Alok'sha's here.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I know Alok'sha, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is Alok'sha your partner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
My
know
secret
them
lover.
as co-workers, as close.
Yeah, we're co-workers. We're bros.
They're on the patrol team together.
Right.
Co-brokers. Broker.
Yeah, we're just gal pals is what he and I are. We're just gal pals.
What's better than this guy's being dude?
This guy's being dudes being guys.
Is that what happened to them? Disappeared into the rift?
Make a perception check, everyone.
Sure.
It's time to proceed. Ooh, nat 20.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I'll let you just add that.
Perception, you said?
Yeah.
That is, oh, cool. That is a 14.
Okay.
It's a little better.
And Velyarn?
I rolled a 7.
Alright. You're, so...
Well, I'm convinced.
Nosalyn, you notice that there's this... Basically, beyond where Sonam was looking, in that direction, there's this huge chunk of what looks to be a coral reef that was just like a cake cut and just dropped in there. And you recognize
Now I
this
really
coral
want
reef.
some coral cake. That would be so good. Wow. Can you imagine just a cake decorated like a coral reef?
They've done that, and it's beautiful. It's so pretty. All right, distracted. Done to be distracted.
I was like,
I miss cake. I miss having cake. Anyway, yes. So yeah, Nosalyn. We know about the coral from before because we saw the cut stuff, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Nosalyn is just be like, hold on. I think Sonam's actually onto something, and she's going to meet with Sonam and like point with her glaive over in that direction. Does that look familiar to you at all?
You recognize the coral reef.
Yeah. She chuffs and she's like, yes. Cut. Precise. So she sort of looks at you. Precise. And
Nosalyn nods, be like, yes, we have reached an understanding, yes.
Yeah, and Finn picks up, like, there's this little piece of fabric, and it's part of the guard uniform that Sonam has. Like, I think we are into something. Like, here's some of their guard. I think we should try to find them.
We can't find them by standing here, and so Nosalyn will just start down the path.
Okay.
I'm going to look kind of closely to the path, like maybe like pick up some of the sand, see if it's like freshly loose, and make a nature check if that's possible.
Sure, you can make a nature check. What are you trying to determine?
I am trying to determine which direction they're going, how fresh the tracks are.
Okay, sure. Go for it.
Oh, that's not bad.
I like how with Michael's shadow, I can see him pick up the dice.
Yeah, like the ominous shadow is really cool.
Yeah, right there.
time to roll.
That's a 17.
Okay, so you examine the coral reef and the surrounding area. You can determine that it was like it matches that like time frame of like when things went missing, and you see that there are like in this sand. It looks like there was at least at one point some sort of struggle, and then it looks like heavy drag marks in the sand.
Huh.
Like a heavy object was dragged through it.
Yeah, it might have been possible that Alok'sha was taken by force.
You
As I trace the tracks like Aragorn.
do you say that out loud?
Yeah, I do.
The low clicking you hear actually gets a little bit louder, so it creates a wider net of sonar. I'm under the impression that the watch has this way of communicating without shouting, because it doesn't pierce the water as easily. So it's the equivalent of starting to shout, go, hey, Alan! Oh, almost 2 Atlan's tense, but you know. So,
I'm not sure what kind of check that would be if you wanted to do something like that, but if you wanted to do a check.
Yeah,
General
would it be athletics? How strong is my voice?
How strong is your voice?
Considering like she could have like like a prestige in whatever this is, and you can just choose like wisdom or something in relation to perception, and then do prestige, whatever it's called.
Could be. Would you consider it as a survival, like how people sort of like whistle in the dark to find each other?
Yeah, we can run survival. Actually.
Okay, I'll try. That was a 19 plus 5.
Works.
Okay, so you send out
Calls the universe.
click.
It's like it's a series of them that like get a little louder now.
Yeah, and you wait. And you hear just the softest little echo back.
What direction was that in?
Basically the one you're going.
Oh, excellent. She kind of just moseys forward. Not intentionally, but maybe bumping anyone that's near the lead.
Nosalyn will get bumped to the side. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that she's trying to push you guys. It's just she's got wide shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you You follow the signal that you somehow know, and the city winds. Parts are water.
Yeah. I'm like kind of like calling out. I'm like, wait, we don't quite understand this. Oh.
Okay. When suddenly you find yourselves meeting air. You step out and look behind you to see a wall of water holding perfectly still in place. Your feet and fins slide along the stone floor that seems to almost moan beneath your steps. Sonam eagerly leads the party down the winding paths, through the curved hallways and into a dark alley with a single door. The door is large enough to step through, but is heavy and dense. Made of the same odd, organic, fleshy stone the whole city seems to be crafted of.
Hi, this is Tiffany, your DM. Thank you for watching Dungeon Damsels. This is not the end of the session, so please stay tuned for the next part. We update on Tuesdays and Saturdays at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you're interested in supporting us more, please push the subscribe button, like, or comment. We also have a Patreon, wink wink nudge nudge, and our show is in podcast form. You can find us on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Podbean, Spotify, and plenty of other podcast platforms. Thanks, we hope to hear from you soon.